Hi, this is Todd with Esoteric Fine Auto Finishing, Esoteric Car Care, and Esoteric Education. Why am I listing all of our different divisions there? Because our subject here kind of falls into all those different categories in the series that we're going to do. Obviously, the main draw here is a 2018 Camaro ZL1 1LE. Just picked up a week ago. We have a big project and we're going to do a series of videos on it. But before I get into talking about the car itself and some of the specifics, let me back up a little bit and go back to the early days of Esoteric and kind of what we've been doing. When I started this out, I started writing a lot of articles, a lot of blog posts, trying to educate people on what we were doing. Those were widely popular, had people from around the world following what we were doing. Hundreds of articles later, we started getting into doing video production. And last year alone, we've done a couple hundred videos or so talking about proper car care techniques, products, and everything in between. So what we want to do is kind of mix this up a little bit. We want to go back to our roots to talk about the whole process, the educational process, what the car represents, and what we're thinking when we make decisions on what directions to go with a car. And then obviously we mix that in with video format so you can see the whole process. It makes it a little bit more interesting. And what our plans are for this is we're going to have a series of 6 videos. This is the very first one, introduction, kind of talk about what it is and what we're hoping to accomplish. The second video is going to be on performance modifications. 650 horsepower obviously is not enough. So we're going to go and we're going to get probably another 80, 100 horsepower or so on it. Why? Because we can. We're American. We like to do those kind of things. Then we're going to get into paint polishing or paint correction. Talk about different levels of it and what you can expect, what might work best for your car, and the kind of increases that we can get out of it. Then we're going to get into paint protection film. What we're going to do on it, why we're covering certain areas and not others, and what's important to us in terms of applying paint protection film. Then we're going to get into coatings, protective coatings on the painted surfaces, on the wheels, brake calipers, glass. Talk about some of the different things that you have to consider with that. And then finally, we'll do a wrap-up video summarizing all the stuff that we did and showing some nice afters. So now that you kind of have an idea what direction we're going to go with it, let's talk a little bit about the car. The difference between the other Camaros and the ZL1 is they dropped in the supercharged V8 motor out of the Z06 Corvette that for those of you who've been following us for a while, you saw the build that we did on that car. So 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, just absolute nasty motor in it. That's not good enough, so the Camaro team came up with the 1LE Extreme Track package to go along with it. With that, you get larger aerodynamics. Obviously, you've got the bigger splitter, dive planes, and the big wing out back provides upwards of about 300 pounds of downforce at speed. This car is designed to be on a road course. This is not a straight line car. It's not designed to be a daily driver, a street car, although that's what I'm going to be doing with it. Additionally, you get different wheels. It drops down from a 20 to 19-inch wheel, a little bit wider. When I'm talking wide, the front tires on this crazy thing are 305s. That's the exact same width that comes on the rear of the mighty Turbo S that you see back behind us. Great big wheels. It's designed for going around the track very quickly. And then finally, the suspension. This has a Multimatic DSSV suspension in it that is the top of the line in all GM offerings. It's a Canadian company, and they also provide suspension for Aston Martin 177, the Mercedes AMG GT, and that little Ford GT that's also coming out of Detroit these days. So very, very innovative suspension that comes on with it, all to try to reduce lap times on this car. Speaking of lap times, you can't do that anymore without talking about the Nürburgring. It's, like it or not, it's turned into kind of the reference that all cars, sports cars out there are measured by. First, the regular ZL1, they tested it. They came back with the 1LE Extreme Track package. This knocked off what was that, 13 seconds from the regular ZL1 to the 1LE. How does this stack up to all the rest of the cars out there? If you look at all the production cars that have gone around the ring over the years, this is the 15th fastest. You might think 15, there's a lot of cars ahead of it. There are no cars up in that ranking that come close to the price point that this is at. You're getting up into $200, $300, $1 million cars to get a bit faster than this. This is a monster on the track. And when you want to talk about some of the cars that it beats, look at Ferrari. I'm not talking about one model, I'm talking about all models. There's no Ferrari that's gone around the track there faster than this, a $70,000 Camaro. It's only Camaro by name. This is a supercar underneath. Brand new Ferrari 488 goes for about 300,000. 6 seconds or 5 or 6 seconds slower than what this one is. Big difference. So why am I telling you all this? Because a lot of people think Camaro and they think of somebody like me back in the 80s with a mullet and jamming some Van Halen. They're completely different these days. They build these things with a great platform, great handling, and you get the American muscle to go along with it. So these are absolutely spectacular cars. We look forward to having fun with it, not only with the modifications that we're going to do, but we're going to go out and do track days at Mid-Ohio, hopefully some other places this year as well. How does this stack up to some other cars? Well, if you've been following us, you know some of the other projects we worked on. Had a Z06 with a Z07 package in it. We built up a 700 horsepower BMW X5M, which is just a crazy SUV. And then the last car that we had was a Turbo S. 2017 Porsche Turbo S. That is an executive supercar. That car will do about anything and everything that you want to. It's ridiculously fast, one of the quickest cars that you can ever find. 2.5 to 2.6 seconds, 0 to 60, 205 mile per hour top speed, all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering, just an amazing car. So people might wonder, why would you go from a $200,000 supercar to a $70,000 American muscle car? People will think that you're stepping down. Well, I'm here to prove that you can have just as much fun, if not more in a lot of cases, with a $70,000 car as what you can in a $200,000 car. How do they compare? You know, how am I coming up with that description? Well, this car back here is so refined and so engineered. It's like digital. It does everything perfectly. You can be a lesser driver and go really fast in this with a high level of confidence. This is analog. This is a driver's car. You have to know what you're doing to be able to get that much out of this car. It's like a bucking bronco. It wants to spit you off at any moment. You have to be very careful with this. If the Turbo S is Rachmaninoff, this is AC/DC. If the Turbo S is a scalpel, this is a chainsaw. They both get there, they go completely different ways about doing it. You want to be a hooligan? Jump in this. You're going to spin the tires, any gear that you want to, make a lot of noise. It screams, look at me, it's in your face. The Turbo S is a little bit more sedated, like I said, executive. So they go two completely different ways about doing it, but in the end, they get you there about the same time. This is no slouch in terms of speed and performance, a little bit slower than what this is, but I think the fun factor that you get out of the Camaro versus the Turbo S, it just makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging when you're driving it. So we really look forward to it. We don't look at it as a step down only in price. We're going to have just as much fun. We're going to be a little bit more of a hooligan in this than what we did in the Turbo. Turbo you can drive in any weather. This one, these Goodyear supercar tires on them, these are ridiculous. Somebody at the Department of Transportation got paid off to make these things street legal. These are track tires. Trying to drive them in anything below about 80 degrees, you're going to slide around a bit. So if you are getting one of these and you want to drive it on the street most of the time, I may put some different tires on here to save these for track time. But it's a lot of fun. The only thing we've done to it so far is added tinted windows. We went 18% on the sides and the back, 55% on the front. And we've got a lot of things planned for it. And you guys on the Camaro 6 forum, there's going to be a lot of information for you on here. One big question that a lot of people are asking is how to take care of this matte wrap that's on the hood. We're going to give you 2 or 3 fantastic options for it, so it help you keep the car looking good for a long time. And this video series is not just for you Camaro owners or you 1LE owners. There's going to be a lot of great information here that's going to apply to all cars. It just happens to be on a Camaro that we're working on it. So we're really looking forward to this project, having you all follow along. We'll space these out because it's going to take us probably the next month to work on the car and get through all the stages. And then our crew will work on filming and editing and try to keep releasing them on a regular basis. So make sure that you follow along, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get updates when we are releasing these videos along with others. And we look forward to you following along in the journey. That's about all for today. For Esoteric, I'm Todd Cooprider. Thanks. We'll see you again next time.